Hey there, welcome to another video of Kathkin Park Chess. This is actually my last video in the Qg5 attack in the Rousseau gambit accepted. You can actually see the starting position on the screen. If you want to know how to get there, I recommend my introduction video, which you can find the link in the description, as well as the other variations I already covered. If you want to find my chess study, it's also in the description, so you can make your own analysis if you wish so. In this video, we are actually going to cover what happens after g4. Now, the g4 move, I can show it, has actually two purposes, which is actually to save this pawn, which was currently attacked by the queen. And at the same time, by moving forward, it now defends the other pawn, which was also attacked. So it's actually a multi-purpose move. They defend both pawns. Now actually this g4 move is only about the fourth most common continuation in this position by white, but according to the Lichess database, black scores quite poorly against this move, and hence I think it's important to be prepared. And if you are prepared, you are most likely to win most of your games. Now, what should you do in this position? Actually, you just move you develop the knight, putting another attacker on this pawn. And here there's two main continuations for white. One is just to add another defender, playing h3, and the other option is like playing d3 with a discovered attack on your queen. And we're going to cover both. We're starting with the most played move in the position, which is h3. Now here, you just move here, and the reason why this is a good square for the queen is you're putting immediate pressure on this very weak pawn. Now here, white most often play d3, challenging your pawn, because this pawn is actually quite annoying for white, because it controls this square, so they have trouble developing their knight, so it makes perfect sense to challenge it. Now in this position you just continue attacking. You can play this bishop move, and now you're already threatening checkmate, so white is forced to defend the pawn. Please notice that this is not an option, because it's a huge blunder. You can just take it and white can't retake because the pawn is pinned. So this move is not a very good move, but in case they play it, you're already a bishop up. So there's actually only two ways of defending the attacked pawn. One, which is the best move according to the engine, is rook to here. Actually, it's almost never played, because I guess it's not very natural to play this move. What most players will do in this position, they are going to defend with the queen, but this is actually a blunder. You notice it's already -4, and you will have an easy game from here. I'm showing you a possible continuation. Now what you should do is attacking the queen with the knight, so the queen has to move. And now here it's actually another nice move you should know, because it's not so easy to find, I guess. It's actually this pawn push. Notice that the pawn is still defended, so white can take, and they have to save. If they want to save their bishop, they have to move back. And here actually you can just take the bishop. White will usually take back, and now you push again here, and that's all a cool move, because white can take, because this pawn still is pinned to the king, so, and their queen is attacked. So they have to move, and now you can just take it. White will retake, you take, white moves, and then it's actually the most precise way is actually to first develop your light square bishop attacking the rook, and after white saves their knight you can take it, and from here on you got a very nice game with a nice advantage of -5. You're up a rook and you should win this game pretty easily. Let's move a little bit back to where we were before, because in this position, when you attack white's bishop, there's actually a better move for white instead of retreating the bishop, which is counter strike, this c3 move. So your knight is attacked now, as well as their bishop, and here you can just make a cool move. You just take this pawn, and white has many ways how they can go wrong. And for example, if they take your knight, you just push, and we have a very similar version as before. White has to move their queen, you take, they take back, you take with a fork. Here actually the engine prefers just taking with making new queen, then they take back, you take their bishop, and in the end you can take their light square bishop, which was still unprotected, and again you're up a rook and you will have a nice game. So let's go back to this position where we just discussed how to react against h3. Now, as promised, we're going to look how to play against d3, and of course the queen has to move because it's now attacked by the bishop, and actually you just move to the same square as you would have moved after h3, which is here. Now in this position, many players will go and take. Actually, it's not the most often move played in this position. Most players go h3 here, but that's actually a transposition of the version we just covered before, so I'm not going to cover it again. But if they take the pawn, that's the second most played move in this position. Here you have a pretty nice move. You go here with the knight, which is actually a double attack. And here white has several ways of continuing. We're going to cover those versions. One is the best move according to the engine, which is queen to e2. Then we're going to cover what happens if white counterattacks, attacking your queen. And then we're also going to cover what happens after the bishop retreats. And I can already promise in many of these variations you will have lots of fun tricks and traps. Okay, let's start with this queen move. If they move here, just defending the bishop, then you're supposed to take. White will take back. Now you can take here. You can take actually this pawn. Again, threatening checkmate. White will have to go back to defend. Now here you can just put even more pressure on this pawn. And here again white cannot defend this pawn one more time, so the best thing they can do is just develop their knight attacking your queen. Now here you just take, white takes back, and then you take with the knight attacking the rook in the corner. They are going to move, and here you actually, it's completely okay just to castle. It's maybe not the best move according to the engine, but I think the most practical way of getting a nice position. Here white has actually will usually play this bishop move, putting pressure on this pawn. You can't take because it's pinned to the king. And here actually you just defend the pawn with your rook. And the best move for white in this position is to develop their knight. And here you have a pretty cool move, because knight is developing and they think, okay, they're defending this pawn, which was currently attacked by your knight, but actually you don't care, you just take it, because by taking it's a discovered attack on the rook. Now, best thing for white here is just to take with check. You take back, they take, then you can take the bishop, and now they can win the bishop back with this knight move, so it's actually a big trade. And you can play here to save your bishop, and this position is actually about equal. Material is equal, but I think it's probably easier to play with black, because you have the bishop's pair, The white bishop is going to be activated soon. It's an open board. White has these isolated pawns here. The king is still in the center, so I think it's probably easier to play with black. So let's go a little bit back to here. Now we saw what happens if white just develops. Now we are going to cover another version if white feels a little bit more aggressive. If they think, okay, they can attack your rook, which is currently defending the pawn. Now here you play just exactly the same move as before with this covered attack on the rook. If they want to save the rook, they should move the rook, maybe to g2. Let's say they move here. So you move your rook as well to here. Now in this position, many of your opponents are going to save their knight, which was attacked by the rook. Now you might notice that you have a lot of discoveries with the knight. Unfortunately, they're not really promising. So best thing here is just to prepare this capture, because that pawn can't be defended. And if they take your bishop, you can take back with check. And if they move, you win back the pawn. And this version is completely winning. It's -4. Okay, now let's go a little bit back where we started. I just showed you what can happen after they play the best move in the position, which is this one. But of course, there's many other options, and we're going to cover 2 of them. First is what happens after knight to e3, which actually is a counterattack on the queen. So in this case, actually, you can just take the pawn. And now they might think, okay, that's a blunder because you left your knight unprotected. But if they take it, you have a very nice fork. It's actually a triple fork. It's a check, but you're also attacking this knight and the rook in the corner, not to forget. So only way for white, if they want to save the rook and not be down material, is to move the king, because now the queen defends the rook. Now you can just take the knight. And here maybe your opponent thinks, okay, that's again a blunder, because now I can win the queen with this move, because it's actually pinned to the king. But actually you have a nice defensive resource here, which is to move the knight here. It comes with check. When they, for example, they think, okay, they move here, so maybe they can take the knight next move. No, you just defend with the pawn, simultaneously attacking their bishop. And if they still try to attack your knight, now it's already a mate in 13. You can take the bishop, which comes with the check. And if they move, now it's actually time to sacrifice your bishop. Here it's already mate in 4, so they will take it. Now you give this check with the pawn. And yeah, and now if they decide to move back, you have a very pretty checkmate, which is extremely rare. You give this check first with the knight, and now the only square available to the king is here, and here comes the very beautiful checkmate, which is long castle checkmate, and the game is over. Of course, you can also give the checkmate like this. It's exactly the same, but of course it's much more stylish if you have this long castle checkmate. Real beauty. Now let's go again back to where we were before. We saw what could happen if they play this knight move. Now we're going to see what happens if they think, okay, my bishop is attacked, let's just retreat and save it. Now here again, you develop your dark square bishop, threatening checkmate, and if white defends, you just add another attacker, and now it's again 3 attackers, and there's no way they could defend this pawn once more, so the best move is actually just to develop their bishop, attacking your knight. Now you just you're supposed to take with the knight, and best thing they can do is actually just to take your knight, and now with this nice you can take the rook, which is a discovered check. White moves, for example here, and now in this position actually there's a move you have to know, because you might think, okay, you have to be careful because many of the moves you would like to play don't work. For example, if you try just to simplify, it doesn't work because, okay, yes, there's a queen exchange, but now they can actually take here, and notice that your rook is completely trapped because the white bishop is also guarding this square, so that's actually slightly winning even for white. And another thing you would like to do in this position is to save your knight, but this is even worse because now white retreats the bishop, and now you will lose the knight. So actually you have to leave the knight in the corner, and the best move is actually this one, which doesn't seem quite spectacular, and you might say, okay, but this doesn't defend against this rook trap, but actually it does, and I'm going to show you how. Because if white takes the rook in this position, you have a very sexy move. It's actually, maybe you can stop the video to see if you can find it. It's actually, yeah, it's actually this very nice bishop to a6. And this is a cool move because it's pinning the queen to the king, so the queen can't move away. And if they think, okay, that's just a blunder, I can take it, then actually it's checkmate in one, because in this position the queen is tied down to defend this square. So the only way of saving their queen and not getting checkmated is to block this diagonal, and the only way how they can do it is actually by pushing the pawn here, because yeah, it's defended now. The king is the queen is safe. But there's a drawback to this move, because now by playing this move they are actually blocking their own bishop in. It's not controlling this square anymore, and now you can play this move, and it's not only saving the rook, it's much better because it attacks the bishop, and if the bishop moves it's actually checkmate in one. Pretty nice. So if they notice they cannot move their bishop, and if they try to save it, let's say by protecting it with the pawn, then you have another really nice move, which is a queen sacrifice. You can take it, and if they take back again, it's mate in one. So pretty beautiful stuff actually, I think. Lots of tricks, lots of traps. Yeah, you will not encounter this g4 move pretty often, but if you know like the basics, I think you should be winning easily, because white has so many ways of going wrong. Okay, that's it. If you like my videos, feel free to subscribe to my channel, and I wish you all the best and hope to see you soon.